Okay, so I wrote this at 1:30 a.m. according to my notes. So if this is a little disjointed, I'm hoping to flesh it out as I read it. So right now you're getting like raw 1:30 a.m. me, but passed through a woken filter. If you believe your weapon wants to end all of existence, then so it will. Tolan the Shattered. Bad Juju is one of my favorite weapons of all time in Destiny, and the flavor text that accompanies it explains what it means to be paracausal. We have all heard of the I think, therefore I am. I mean, specifically with Ergo Sum, a lot of people have been made aware of that phrase in Destiny, but this doesn't have to do anything with Ergo Sum. I'm just drawing a comparison of the phrase. Out in our everyday, we think, therefore we are, but having command over paracausal power is more like, I think, therefore you are. Therefore this is. Like when you pull out a golden gun, you are believing, I have a gun, you know? Or like the Dawn Blade, it's like you pull it out and it's like, that is a manifestation of your will, of your mind, brought to physical space with the light. You know, take the 9 for example. The 9, their existence is tied to our perception. At least that's a theory, right? We think, therefore they are. The life in our solar system is what gives the 9 their existence, right? Because we perceive that there is something more, something out there, you know? We are giving them not form, but idea, you know? Because the 9 are antimatter. They're not physical, right? And Gaia forms, you know? They're Gaia forms. That's what they're theorized to be in the Antaeus Ward's lore tab. Their existence is tied to our thought, much like the in-game mechanics of Final Shape, where in the campaign we imagine a path with the dark, right? Using the power of our mind. And then it is made physical with the light. The light versus dark saga had always been a conflict of form versus formless. You know, the Traveler, who was a solid mass floating in the city, versus the Black Heart, which was formless and, you know, shifting. And the 9 seek a way to become more real, independent from us, so that if we ever become extinct, they may live on. Yet, creatures such as Nezarec have been able to exploit these paracausal mechanics, making sure that even in death, they'll be able to live on. Whether it is in the back of our minds, in our hearts, in his grave, through the usage of his limbs to empower individuals. And now he's coming back through Mithrax, and we're not sure where this story is going to lead, because Nezarec seems to have a lot of paths laid out for his return. It could be tied to Scions, it could be tied to Mithrax, who knows, maybe there's something on the Dreadnought that we might see that connects to him again. Maybe in Apollo there'll be some sort of connection to him too, because, you know, if you look at that concept art, kind of looks like a cultist thing, and we know that the cult of Nezarec is a thing, right? And if you watched my Mask of the Quiet One video, sorry for plugging, but, you know, actually do go watch it. I talk about Satomi, what role Satomi could be playing within all this. Through our emotions and thoughts, Nezarec clings to existence, while Rulk, dominated by force and vicious subjugation, Nezarec influenced and controlled minds by instilling fear. Ever since Witch Queen, we've been toying with Deep Sight, where we are able to recall the shape of what the world was, to sort of bend our space into manifestations. In Witch Queen it was temporary, but as I mentioned earlier, in Final Shape we find ways to make it sort of permanent, because, you know, they're made physical with both light and dark. We're able to manifest psychic impressions created by intense emotions via this method. You know, impressions that linger on left behind by conscious thought. The power of Nezarec, of the nightmares, comes from our fear, our enemy's fear. And through that fear, impressions of enemies and nightmares are made manifest. Trauma and obstacles and weapons, they're able to come back. Nightmares that even after so many years still haunt the moon, the derelict Leviathan, the terraformed pyramid ship, as well as distant corners of the solar system. No darkness power has been able to be this absolute across the solar system, and I believe that's because it's the one power that can be like networked in fear. You know, it's compounding. So many people are already afraid of Nezarec. You know, the Neomuni were made aware of them. The Earthlings were made aware of them. The Hive, Elixni, you know, the Scions. It's been around for millennia. Not just in our system, but in their systems. Affecting them. Nezarec's been playing the long game. You know? He achieved what Oryx wanted, to become synonymous with the universe, to become axiomatic, which, you know, that might be something we could be hearing next season. The power to live on through death. Are they going to see that as heresy, as a heretic? You know, we know it's going to be Xivu or Wrath related, and we might see Savathun, because it's like, you know, come on, it's going to change the whole Hive pantheon. But I'm interested if Oryx is going to come back in this wake too. I keep on talking about death and resurrection, but like, you know, like we just got Skolas back. And Nezarec, he's always going to come back. The power of the mind is so absolute that even the Ahamkara were able to twist desire, to speak with the Anthem Anathemy, to impose will onto reality. It's most interesting that the Ahamkara are so powerful. They fell at the hands of guardians, and a lot of people don't seem to realize this, but the Great Hunt was truly a spiritual battle. You know, a battle between minds and hearts, between the guardians and the Ahamkara. Would absolute will be the dominator? Or would unhinged desire be what eventually wins the day? You know, and for many cases, desire would win, and it would lead to the demise of many. As we know by the result of the Great Hunt, that determination of will is what won the day. Of course, you know that there are no longer any living Ahamkara, none that have hatched from their eggs, none that we know of. But again, to my point, the real battle of the Great Hunt were fought in the mind, ensuring that the Ahamkara wasn't able to grasp onto your desire. Like, the most effort the Guardians had to do in that fight, right? The greatest battle of that fight was not actually killing the Ahamkara, making sure that the Ahamkara wouldn't be able to grasp onto your desires, you know? To gain power and sustenance from that wish, and becoming even harder to exterminate. You never know what's gonna be the twist that they put when they grant a wish. So you had to be really careful. Like Saladin, he had that one thing on his mind. He faced the Ahamkara and they were like, oh yeah, I'll grant you a wish. Right? And he says, well, I want to fight a dragon. I want to kill a dragon. And so he did. And his prey fell. There are some theories about this fight, implying that maybe that's why the Iron Lords fell. Because Saladin wanted to kill the dragon, and he holds the belief that, you know, we are what we overcome, right? So, like, he is a dragon in that case. So, technically, the Iron Lords shared the same fate. I honestly think that's, like, too much of a crazy theory to put in this video right now, so I'm not going to explore that. But my point is, this is a battle won within the mind of Lord Saladin. Outside of the Ahamkara, there are the Worm Gods, you know, seemingly a relative in the evolutionary line of the Ahamkara, who are able to influence and control through suggestion and enticing of power. Savathun's worm, who fed on lies and deceit, and the complexities of confusion like the Mbaru engine. It's an interesting twist of the power of the mind within Destiny's narrative. There's also the cases of the Hive siblings who were summoned to life once again by bearing tribute to the aspects of which they drew power from. You know, and it's all once again something caused within the mind. For Savathun, a great act of trickery was caused, and for Xivu, a great act of war. And from their memories, they were returned. The mind has so many interesting applications and paths to power that are mostly uncharted in Destiny's universe. And with the exploration of the Veil being some sort of soul server or something that connects all people's minds and stuff, and somehow even has paths into the Vex network, you know, it makes it more clear that the absolute power of the universe is the mind. I mean, the Veil networked those the Witness's people into one form to create the Witness. It's clear that the mind is what is truly the dominant power of Destiny's universe. It gives lives to antimatter, and it builds and reveals paths, it haunts, it grants peace. A single thought can alter the history of an entire universe, and perception and desire can destroy anything in its way. The Pale Garden gained form because we envisioned it, because we entered it. You know, our mind created the structures that are there. It responded to our mind and our intention, changed and contorted. And it was our will that eventually defeated the Witness. A collective of peoples from the Elixni, the Cabal, Awoken and Hive, and even humanity focused on one desire. The desire to end the Witness. And it presents an idea that so many refuse to take into their personal lives. And that is, you are the master of your universe. You may achieve anything that you set your mind to. And no matter who pushes back or what obstacles get in your way, you decide what becomes of your life. If you so desire to change the world, then you will. And that is your power. Not just in Destiny, but in your actual life. I feel like this video is a lot more of a loose connection of ideas banded together to prove that there's only one power that is supreme in Destiny. But I really do think it presents Destiny's core values in a really great way. In the end, the Guardians make their own fate.
I'm here. I'm back.
Look wheels you.
Let them go.
Father wheels you. Give him back.
Don't!
Hear me, Father wheels you.